Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podman, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Audible, Stitcher, Double Twist, many others. Thank you once and always for downloading and listening to the show, and it's a great pleasure to be joining you once again today. The sun's shining on a Friday morning in Golden Valley, Minnesota. Kind of a hazy sky. It's finally warming up a little bit. It's been freezing out. And the Timberwolves, well, kind of like the weather in Minnesota this time of year. Up and down, up and down. You score the last 22 points against Houston. You get destroyed by Houston the next night. Again, a team that had lost 20 games in a row and still has a better record than you, as John Krasinski was kind enough to remind us on multiple shows. And great job by him, by the way. Yeah, you heard his voice on the last episode. A very, very competitive loss to Brooklyn, unfortunately, 112-107, and a competitive victory over Tom Thibodeau, Taj Gibson, R.J. Barrett, blah, blah, and Julius Randle and the New York Knicks. 102-101, extremely entertaining battle. A split, 2-2 in 4 games. And at this moment, well, it's a nice, solid victory for the Timberwolves. It's good to be 500 at this point. Our draft standing remains the same, which is totally fine. And we're just going to have to see how things go from here. Hey, at least you won 2 games, but again, there's a lot deeper conversation regarding the Houston Rockets in both cases. Holy crap, did we play like garbage in both of those games, honestly. So let's just get into those games now, I guess. Right? 4 games to review, 4 games to preview. Going to be busy. I'm going to try my best to keep this reasonable and not too crazy, because we all know how I can be. Sometimes I ramble and get excited and this and that. Well, it was a historic day. I mean, I pretty much have to refer to Twitter because I wrote most of my notes down on the Twitter regarding this game on the 26th of March. My goodness, I mean, literally history took place on this day. We're talking in like thousands and thousands of games. It's happened like 4 times, something like this. And again, you look at the stock chart, which is what I call it, but really what it truly is the win probability according to Yahoo Sports. Really, that's where I refer to in a lot of these game reviews and such. It just kind of it's down favoring the Wolves because, well, we have to be favored in some games. It went way up in Houston's favor as they really took off, and then they didn't score. And the Wolves were 22-0. They didn't score in the last 7.5 minutes of the game, them being the Houston Sprockets. Christian Wood looks nice. John Wall was dribbling off his foot. He still managed to get 15 assists in the game. But, he assisted us as well with several turnovers. Juancho Hernan-Gomez, who was very visible in this game. You don't really notice him in future games as much. Karl Anthony Towns, awesome, like he usually is against the Rockets. Jaden McDaniels had a very solid week. Anthony Edwards all over the place. Just kind of crazy. And all over the place kind of week for a lot of these guys. Jaden McDaniels made every shot in this game. And remember, he had a very gentle Johnny Flynn Memorial last week, if I'm remembering correctly. And he's a lot closer to the Lone Wolf Award, I'd have to say. What an awesome week for Jaden McDaniels. Drawing all kinds of rave reviews all over the place on shows all over this state, and Locked On Wolves and such. Awesome job, Jaden McDaniels. What a great week. And his defensive rating is number 1 on the team right now, and it probably should be. Can you think of a better defender on the team than Jaden McDaniels? Because right now I can't. Anthony Edwards has been forcing turnovers, which is awesome. He gets his explosiveness to the basket, particularly in the New York Knicks game. He just did not have a good game here. 4 of 17. He was just an absolute mess. Even Karl Anthony Towns. This is not Karl like 9 of 26. He was just clanging everything, and he still managed to get 29 points, which is funny. He still managed to get 29 points in the game. Jalen Noel had a terrible day, 4 of 14, pardon me. This is very un-Jalen Noel, like 0 of 6 from downtown, though he can get streaky. He had a lot of steals in the game, but it certainly helps when, again, the Rockets were turning the ball over about as much as, Timberwolves did in that last 7 minutes years ago. I don't know what I'm talking about. 19 turnovers for the Rockets. 7 for John Wall. 7. 15 assists, yet you negate 7 of them, so it's kind of almost like having 8 assists. Kind of, not really. Terrible game, though, for John Wall, despite 15 assists. I mean, how many times have you told somebody they had a terrible game when they had 15 assists? Rubio 0 of 7. I mean, the Wolves shot like garbage for the most part. The bench actually was great, I think, generally speaking. Hernan Gomez, 7 of 10. That's great. 7 of 10, 19 points. He had a starting power forward type of night. He really did. And Naz Reid, I don't know why he only got 2 rebounds, but still a very solid game, generally speaking. No French dips, though. Only 10 threes made. And again, very historical numbers, which I'm going to have to try to scroll through now. I had it up, and now I lost it. That's just how it goes. The Twitter account, because I know there's off and on conversation on here. Why am I in the regular? Yeah, that's what messed it up. Yeah, notifications, because I think some people responded to a lot of it. Actually, all I have to do is go to my my apologies. At TWolvesEX is what it is, generally speaking. Yeah, Evan Massey, we'll talk about that a bit too. The Timberwolves could be headed towards major changes in the offseason. We'll see. A bit of kind of back and forth there. Not everybody agrees with that, but it could happen. Here we go. Yep, the final 7:30 on Friday. That was, last Friday, a week ago already. A historical 22-0 run. There have been over 25,000 NBA games in the last 25 years, and only 4 of them had a team not score in the final 7:30. Scott Van Pelt. That's just that part, not the 22-0 run at the end, but just that part alone. Only 4 in over 25,000 games since back in the mid-'90s, basically, 96, as that happened. That's absolutely nuts. Absolutely insane. Scott Van Pelt, ESPN, brought that up. So again, just being honest about that, not just going to steal his info there. And again, there's the colossal collapse for the Rockets and big gain for the Wolves. Though it looks like a collapse, it's doing it from the Rockets' perspective, I suppose, because they were the ones that were favored and stuff. I was talking about how I love the Hawks uniforms. We'll get that when we get to the fan interaction, but I had to refer to some of that information now because we're actually talking about that game. It was absolutely amazing. Generally speaking, again, historic moments and such in the game. And now we'll just try to move on to the next one so I don't babble too much. Obviously, 4 games to review, 4 games to preview. It's busy stuff, but again, a historic day. And that's the main theme, is the history of it all in that game. And then the next one drew a lot of ire from Mr. John Krasinski and others, basically saying how unprofessional this team truly is. How they get too excited with themselves, like they get like, oh, we're good, we're going to be fine, we're going to be fine. And then the other team just rolls all over them, regardless of who that other team is. A team, again, that he mentioned had lost 20 games in a row very recently and still has a better record than the Timberwolves. They had won their 13th game. The Wolves had won their 11th. Wolves finally won their 12th against the New York Knicks. This game was bad from the get-go and just remained bad. Kelly Olynyk did pretty much what he wanted. Kevin Porter Jr., 25 points in the game. Very solid. John Wall, another double-digit assists. He's not the same guy. But, I mean, even Ben McLemore, a guy who's just been an absolute colossal bust, has had a double-digit game out there. DJ Augustine was just acquired in, like, the 20th trade of his career. He's on the 21st team, basically, of his career. I'm exaggerating slightly. DJ Augustine, 20 points off the bench. I mean, what a weird team. It's just like a mishmash. It's like a blender. It's like goulash. I mean, this is like NBA goulash. That's the Houston Rockets. I mean, seriously, Kelly Olynyk, John Wall, Ben McLemore, DJ Augustine. What? It's just a big mix, a big mess of whatever the heck. It's like, what the hell? Let's just throw this team together and see what happens. That's pretty much what it is, eh? Justin Patton, drafted by Tom Thibodeau, that's right, in the Chris Dunn draft. And that was a big miss. Obviously, the Timberwolves missed a chance to get a very legitimate big man at that point. Wolves just missed big time there. It's too bad. Justin Patton could have been something, but at least he's playing now. He's alive. There's a pulse, but it ain't much. 5 minutes, 2 points. In his case, Juancho Hernangomez still solid, but you know what? I mean, you don't look at stats in this game other than the quarters and just how horrible it was and how unprofessional everything was. And how Malik Beasley said in the past, how basically like they kind of get too comfortable out there, and they think that they think that they're good. They think they're good to go, and we're going to be okay. And then kaboom! And it's like you're in no position to think that way. What are you doing? And how there's literally something rooted in the culture. And I just started referring to Bill Guerin, Minnesota Wild general manager, literally saying that about the Minnesota Wild, the locker room and such back in the summer of last year and early fall and all that. When he said there's something rooted in the culture here that's not working, and it needs to change. That's kind of how he said it, kind of like not stumbling, but just kind of and it needs to change. Just like, yeah, like he's kind of thinking as he's talking. It needs to change. And that's basically what's going on with the Wolves in a lot of ways. Wonderful players on this roster, but 11-35, I mean, and getting crushed by a Houston team the way we did. We were down by 32 points at one stage in the game. I mean, they had 74 points in the first half, did the Sprockets. 74 points. And then it just kind of flatlined the rest of the way, and you had a 129-107 debacle in Target Center against the Sprockets. They're the Sprockets. They're not the Rockets. There is no lift-off. There's just nothing like that. Mr. Spacely owns them, and he's telling them, "You're fired," like I imitate all the time. Yeah, I'm not going to do the full imitation at the moment. I got to have a purpose. But statements like basically we're comfortable, we're happy, we think we have it, we're ready to go, basically. And then, you follow it up with this. You get too comfortable, and a team like Houston just rolls all over you. I don't know, man. I don't know. It doesn't sit well at all. It was the anniversary of Black Monday. Me and my friend Paul Kenneth made a terrible mistake in the stock market that day. Terrible, terrible mistake. So Black Monday, March 27th, 2006, happy anniversary, as the Wolves had a Black Saturday. And it is not referring to color of anything other than just it was a bad day. So don't worry about that part. I know everybody takes everything too seriously nowadays about everything under the sun. And under the Target Center roof, too, I might add. But what more is there to say other than it was completely unprofessional? There's something rooted in the culture that is not working. It's that simple. And I'm General Manager Bill Guerin saying that. I wish so much I was a multi-billionaire and I could be in Glenn Taylor's office right now saying, I solemnly swear I will keep this team in Minnesota as long as I live, as long as I own this team at the very least. I will keep this team in Minnesota. Multi-billionaire, because I know that's one of the selling points, so to speak. I wish I could buy the Timberwolves. I wish I could. I know I would. I might be a little crazy, but I wouldn't be as crazy as Mark Cuban was at the beginning, or even still is in some ways. But, well, somebody's got to buy this team because something's rooted in the culture and it needs to change, and it starts at the top and it continues down into the Karl Anthony Townses of the world, and a lot of people are not happy. And you'll hear from Wayne Hunt about that, who makes some extremely valid points when we get to fan interaction. Yes, sir. You think I'm going to disagree with him? Sorry to tell you, I'm not going to disagree. Monday, March 29th, the Timberwolves play very competitive basketball against the Brooklyn Nets. We almost won this game. And you know what? We should have won this game. You know why? Because we kept missing easy shots. We just kept missing. Miss. I mean, how many three-pointers were missed down the stretch? 0 of 7 for Uncle Edwards. I was crying uncle in this one. He rebounded spectacularly after all the misses that Brooklyn was making. That's why the Wolves were in the game, because Brooklyn was missing, but then we jumped right down the court and missed again. Oh, and by the way, Beasley came back against Houston and shot like, he shot like he was blind or something. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. He was suspended. He wasn't in that place yet. We'll just leave it as is. That's where his shot might get in trouble unless they let him practice there somehow. But that place that he's going to be for a while in the summer, unfortunately. 3 of 12 in this one, 3 of 10. Just too trigger happy. It was terrible. 9 of 22 for And Anthony Edwards, you know who it is, obviously. 0 of 7 from downtown. And it was just time after time. Catch and shoot threes. Open catch and shoot threes. And they were missing. Beasley. Oh, my goodness. He couldn't make anything. As I already said, but we got enough for French dips, I guess. But 32%, 38.8% overall. We almost beat this team because they were missing too. But we just could not respond. Jaden McDaniels, awesome game again. Didn't shoot particularly great, but 3 of 5 from downtown certainly helped, and it helped keep the Wolves in the game. 4 assists, 4 blocks in the game, 7 rebounds. Awesome performance. Again, Jaden McDaniels is already regarded as, at least he's going to be, as for his career potential, at least a decent starting power forward, if not well beyond that. Like maybe even somebody that might squeeze into an all-star game or two, or who knows, as his career progresses. You never know. Regarding his length, his athleticism and such, he might be another Pascal Siakam someday. He just might. As crazy as that sounds. That's who I might compare him to. High end is a Pascal Siakam, and he's an all-star. He's an all-star for the Toronto Raptors, and he's awesome. He's a spectacular defender who can go out for a lot of points. And Jaden, I think the potential's there, and my goodness, can he block shots. Karl Anthony Towns, awesome game. And this was his team growing up. Again, the New Jersey Nets. He's from New Jersey, is Karl Anthony Towns. He's from Jersey. I don't hear the accent as much, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. Culver, well, he put some points on the board. He made a couple threes, or actually only made one. It felt like he made 2 or 3. But generally speaking, only 3 of 10. It's just too bad. Oh, we're all rooting for you, Jared. We really are. I mean, why would you kick a guy when he's down? Especially Jared Culver. Is there anything bad you can really say about the person? I don't think so. But the player, doggone it, come on, Jared, let's go. There's talent there, but it just misses too many shots and the lack of confidence and such. And if you trade him, what are you going to get? A late first rounder, but okay, well, maybe you get another Jaden McDaniels in the late first round. Holy crap, what a great draft pick. Gerson Rosas, 5-year extension for this draft. Maybe his overall vision, I'm not a big fan of, generally speaking, but maybe it's going to start making sense now that there's actually like tall players in the frickin' lineup. Unlike before, it looked like we were all going to be like 6'7", like you're going to have a 6'9" center. And, well, Karl Anthony Towns isn't 6'9", but I'm just imagining that. Like, say if Karl's out, and that's the best you can do, and then everyone else is like 6'5", 6'4" small forward. Oh, yeah, that makes plenty of sense. Let's just watch everyone shoot all over us all night. Let's watch the Jaden McDaniels of other teams shoot right over everybody, which is what is exactly what would happen now that I'm twisting everything. But, yeah, damn it, just make some frickin' shots and we win this game, but we didn't. So, we didn't make the shots and we didn't win the game. Just sum it up in a couple words there, eh? So now we get to play Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks, along with other guys, like the names of Julius Randle and such. And Jaden McDaniels, another great game. Obviously positioning defensively where he wasn't able to be bullied by Julius Randle. Julius played very well in the game. Let's give him credit. Julius Randle is an extremely efficient player. He makes his shots. If he can't bully you, he still makes his shots, like those mid-range shots, maybe elbows, baseline, stuff like that. He's extremely efficient, and the Lakers wouldn't mind having him in the roster right now, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't keep everybody. And, well, the Lakers have 17 championships, so I'm not feeling too bad about if the Lakers don't win the title this year. Sorry, Vince, to say that. 17 championships is a lot. It's a lot. It's 17-0 right now regarding us and them. But then again, actually, if things were fair and honest, the Lakers would have 12 championships, and Minnesota in general would have 5. But, of course, they're not going to be honest because it's L.A. What's honest about L.A.? Tell me something honest about L.A. other than, yeah. Let's move on from that. Nerlens Noel, I don't know. He's certainly not lived up to the top of the lottery that he was drafted, is he? Obviously he got injured so many times. He's just kind of out there now. It's sad. I mean, there was a time I would have loved to have him in Minnesota. He can block shots a little bit, but that's about the end of the story. Obi Toppin off to a slow start. Occasionally he has some good games, but my goodness, he's just about out of the rotation. And, well, I suppose think about who his coach is. So that's definitely a factor as well. Lots of turnovers for that starting lineup, weren't there? You had 4 for Randall, 4 for Barrett, that's 8. 6 more when you add Noel and Payton. Good Lord, man, that's 14. And then you add the last one, Reggie Bullock. Yep, I mean, that's pretty crazy, Crazy numbers, 15 turnovers for the starters, then you get Burks and Quickly, as he was quickly turning the ball over, I guess. 17 total turnovers. So I probably messed. Yeah, 15 plus 2. Yeah, simple math. Solid performance for Julius Randle and such. RJ Barrett, though, great game, obviously. Great game. But I just felt Anthony Edwards ended up being the best rookie out there in a lot of ways. And Barrett's not a rookie, but the best up-and-coming star, other than, of course, Jaden McDaniels, the other one. Malik Beasley even had 20 points. Better, more efficient, looked a lot better. Jared Culver, 1 point. Just oofta. I don't know, Juancho Hernangomez has just vanished out of the picture again after 2 great games against Houston. But, well, it was just stats, I guess. When you consider both of those Houston games were garbage, man. They were garbage. Houston just sucked so bad they couldn't even dribble up the court. That's how bad they were. It looked like a bad high school game, guys dribbling up their foot and such. Like, oh, whoa, whoops. Yeah, just a mess. Where guys are just, John freaking Wall, number 1 overall pick in the draft. Think about that. Karl Anthony Towns was pulling down the rebounds. He was great in that category. But Anthony Edwards was all over the place in this game. Taking away passing lanes, knocking the ball away, and they led to explosive dunks down the court with that speed and explosiveness. And there was no real gambling involved here. He just made great plays. I don't feel he was gambling like, say, like a Corey Brewer. How it was like half of his steals and all that was just, was just gambling. And if anybody compares Jaden McDaniels to Corey Brewer, I'm going to strangle them. You can tell right away Jaden McDaniels is going to be way better than Corey Brewer. Both of them are skinny and all that, but I can see Jaden McDaniels being able to put muscle on, and obviously Anthony Edwards. Talk about muscle; he's huge for a 19-year-old. He's a rock. He's a Hulk, and he's going to get bigger. Just imagine that, bigger without obviously slowing himself down. I'm sure, just more toned, so to speak. Maybe not bigger, but more toned and a little bit bigger, stronger, more toned, that type of thing, as he moves forward. He has a hell of a future. That explosiveness that he has is something that Timberwolves don't really have. And the togetherness that he brings to this team is spectacular. Behind the scenes, again, him and the play he set up Malik Beasley for the game-winning three was absolutely beautiful. And the other thing I appreciate here is Malik Beasley only took 9 shots because, he felt, or just the way the offense is set up here, they were allowing the whole team to kind of work together here rather than just one or two guys taking 20 shots. I mean, Anthony Edwards didn't take 20 shots, which is good. You get tired of one guy taking 20 shots unless he's just red hot. But when it's like 7 to 22, you're not going to win a whole lot of games playing that way. The reason why a lot of people didn't get rebounds in this game was because Carl got 17. That's a big part of it. And again, nice passing. But the best pass in the game, again, was Anthony Edwards attacking the hoop and drawing defenders his direction. And then you had an open Malik Beasley for a spot-up / catch-and-shoot three, which got him his 20 point from 17 to 20, put the Wolves up by 1. And luckily the Wolves escaped a couple of, legitimate scoring chances by the New York Knicks and stupid turnovers by the Wolves that could have led to a Knicks win. But luckily the Knicks unable to finish. And again, Jaden McDaniels playing not only good defense, but smart defense in Julius Randle. Not letting himself get into major foul trouble and all that. Obviously, he's going to get beat by Jaden McDaniels a little bit, or by Julius Randle a little bit, but he still played well. And he didn't let him beat him up, because Julius Randle could have beaten up Jaden McDaniels easily, with the size difference. Obviously, Jaden's still, 20 years old, and he's very skinny still at this stage. But he just stayed in front of him, to Jaden McDaniels, and used his length and all that to disrupt Julius Randle just enough to not let him go out for like 35 or something. Very overall solid performance, 18 points for Jaden McDaniels. I think he is a mainstay in that starting lineup. I mean, seriously, you cannot put Josh Okogie back in the starting lineup. It's all done. You cannot put Josh Okogie back in the starting lineup. Culver, there's almost no chance. It's only if guys are hurt or sick or something, and you hope that doesn't happen. You really hope that doesn't happen. Jaden McDaniels needs to start. Jared Vanderbilt has vanished off the face of the earth, which is a little sad. But I'm sure he'll have his moments again. He'll have another shot. And Jake Layman, same thing. He's no longer being displayed. And what do they call that word? I can't even remember the word now when you're putting a guy out there for right before the trade deadline. Yeah, where you're starting a guy that normally wouldn't start, so he can be out there on display for possible trade suitors, that type of thing. Obviously, the Wolves didn't make a trade, and now Jake Layman's not playing anymore. It's kind of funny how all that works, but, this was an entertaining, solid win. The Wolves making a nice comeback. And again, when Karl Anthony Towns starts hitting threes, it helps the Wolves get back in the games and such. And, of course, Beasley down the stretch was great. Anthony Edwards, 12 points in that fourth quarter, though. And the togetherness he has with Beasley is a beautiful thing. You can tell they look like teammates rather than guys looking for their own shot and kind of like, oh, great. Why is he getting all the glory? It's like, no, we're both getting it because we both did great. And we won as a team. And that's the hope going forward with this roster, that there is some winning culture, believe it or not. In a 12-win team, there is some winning culture getting started there. And it starts with Anthony Edwards. And the competitiveness. My only complaint with him is just he misses free throws too much. He was okay in this game, but I remember down the stretch against teams like Brooklyn and such, like missing those free throws just broke my heart. Oh, come on, Anthony, make those free throws. But he was solid in this game. He made most of them. And the big plays he made down the stretch were spectacular. Funny how McDaniels didn't have any blocks, but it's because he wasn't playing super close to Julius Randle. That's just how it goes. Because if he did, Randle would do what he would do. He would be able to beat him up, basically. Nice, impressive win for the Timberwolves. With that said, the Lone Wolf Award for this week, it's going to be shared with Karl Anthony Towns and Jaden McDaniels. He goes from the Johnny Flynn Memorial to the Lone Wolf Award. Jaden McDaniels. I want to just give it to him solely, and I almost should. But Karl deserves credit, enough credit. He was awesome all week. And, of course, Anthony Edwards, he would get it. He would absolutely get it. For this game, he does get it. Him and McDaniels together. But, Towns would get like the bronze medal, so to speak. But, obviously he had some not so good games against the Rockets, did Edwards. 27 points in the second game, but it's like, you're not getting any credit in a game like that. I'm sorry. Even like Juancho's nice game. You got crushed by the Rockets. So that's pretty bad. The Johnny Flynn Memorial for the week. I don't know, maybe Jalen Noel. He was pretty invisible. He couldn't shoot all week. It was weird. He couldn't shoot all week. He had 6 rebounds somehow. 6 rebounds. He was second on the team in that category. He's actually a decent rebounder. A couple assists, couple steals. Obviously, Beasley's not going to get the Johnny Flynn Memorial. He hit the game-winning shot, even though he shot really poorly against Houston and Brooklyn. He was terrible, too, in that game, I'd have to say. He just couldn't get his shot going, and I was getting mad. Oh, and the horrible play he made down the stretch as well in that game also made me sick. I didn't even bring that up because I'm so focused on this Knicks game. It was so much fun. But yeah, just a stupid play. The ball was inbounded to Beasley. The Wolves were down by only 3. 1 possession game against one of the best teams in the league. Missing one of the best players in the league, but they're still super good because of who they still have. Cheaters. No, I'm kidding. The Lakers and the Nets look like cheaters, by the way. It just looks like it, but it's not. It's legal. 14 seconds, though. They inbounded to Beasley, and he just launches it off balance. Reminded me of Anthony Keeler multiple times in the past, where I was literally flying out of my seat when I was a season ticket holder and cursing my head off. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. One time I tore the ticket stub into shreds and threw it over the balcony because I was that mad. I was in the lower part of the upper deck, basically. That's why I was close to the balcony. Yeah. And the other time when a plastic bottle was bouncing down the steps and landed right next to me, and I threw it over the balcony because I was so furious because we collapsed at the last moment. Yeah, it was moments like that. Just stupid-ass plays at the end drive me nuts. And it was similar against the Brooklyn Nets on Monday. I couldn't believe it. With that said, though, we will take a quick break and preview the 4 games upcoming. It's 4 different teams this time. Whoa. Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, the Jordan and Pippen for the Timberwolves someday? Oh, that's right. We still have Karl Anthony Towns, too. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2. We're going to do some previewing. But first, we're going to talk about the Vig It app, the Vig It application. Android and Apple, of course, so you can get it either way. It is basically free sports betting. There are 4, there are 4 different uses and such. Social media for sports bettors. You can post about your picks, see what others are saying about games. Vig It betting leagues, a month-long betting competition to see who the best sports bettor is over the course of a month. So against like your friends or like other members, maybe I could get something going for Timberwolves Explosion. I should have probably done that a long time ago, but I'll get that going soon. I apologize in advance for that one. Obviously, like betting is, possibly going into the postseason or even like the final stretch here for the NBA games, getting into the postseason for playoff seeding. Free to play sportsbook. Bet free coins, win real prizes like national bets and all that such. Basically, who has the highest numbers, you can actually win real prizes. You are not betting with real money. It is play money, basically. You start off with 2,500 points, basically. They look like Bitcoin. It's like a V with the lines through it. Kind of looks like a Bitcoin V instead of the B, that type of thing. It's obviously not real money. There's great information available on Vig It, like line movement and where the public is betting. So where the public's betting, maybe you go against the thread or you go with the thread, depending on the vibe you're getting. Underdogs, favorites, whatever. Underdogs are always more exciting, but that's harder. But that's the name of the game, folks. Please do join it. And when they ask for the referral code, in this case it is Paladinolive, all one word, Paladinolive. I will put that in the show description. The Vig It application. Download it today and mention me as your referral. It only helps the show. Thank you in advance for that. 4 games to preview. 4 games to preview Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, goody. Wayne Hunt. Wayne Hunt, are you going to beat us again? Yeah, probably. They always beat us, and it's annoying. I do love the baby blue colors. I'm saying that in sincerity. It's April now. April Fools and all that good stuff. I got that out of the way. I texted my boss yesterday about 9:30 or so, because we don't start working till about 1:30. I texted him saying, don't think I'm going to come in today. Something weird came up. And then he said, we have a trainer meeting today. We'll see what happens. Let me know. And then I said, April Fools. Yeah, because I just had to. I never call in. Like maybe once a year or 3 years or something. It's really rare. Okay, April 2nd. April 2nd. Oh, man. Yeah, that's right. Boy, it has been 14 years since I took Chloe into the vet and never saw her again. Yeah, that was sad. She had to get put to sleep. Wow, that was 14 years ago today. I almost forgot. Right about this time, too. About a little after 10 a.m. was probably about when she passed officially. 14 years already. Man. Memphis Grizzlies 108-107 earlier in the year. The next game was postponed, rescheduled basically, probably for the May 5th game, and maybe, most likely, or maybe it is this one, because it's like a back-to-back situation in different cities. It's probably this one, but whatever it is, we'll play them today, and then May the 5th, way at the end of the season there, and we will have a winner. Grizzlies are up 1-0. Wolves win the next two. We win. We lose either one. It's over. Grizzlies 2-3 in their last 5. They beat Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City on March the 24th, 116-107. They lost to the Jazz by only 3. Wow, good performance. 117-114. John Morant must be healthy, because when he's not, it's not a good thing. When he's healthy, Memphis is pretty good. They lose to Utah the next day, surprise, 126-110. And they beat Houston. That's another surprise, right? 120-110. And they lost to Utah 3 times. They had to play the Jazz. Jeez. Only lost by 4. Oh, I'm sorry, Wayne. I am sorry. That sucks. So all 3 of the losses to Utah. The Wolves, were 2-3 in our last 5. And we beat Houston once and the New York Knicks once. Memphis, 16th in points. The Wolves are 23rd in points, 22nd in rebounds, 28th in field goal, 20th in free throw, and 26th in three-point percentage, where Memphis is 16th in points, 6th in rebounds, 17th in field goal percentage, 12th in free throw, and 25th in three-point percentage, so not real dangerous, only 0.1% better than the Wolves from downtown at the end of the day. So, knock on wood for Wayne Hunt's case, no injuries. And, of course, again, D'Angelo Russell with the arthroscopic surgery. They're saying he's not coming back this upcoming week, so whatever. Whatever. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to have something to say about him later on when we get to fan interaction. John Morant, of course, leading the club in scoring. I thought last year he was playing better. His numbers are a little lower. His numbers aren't as high this year. Jonas Valanciunas, I can actually pronounce that correctly, and maybe I'm not, but he's doing okay. Dylan Brooks. At least they're staying relatively healthy this year. Good for him there. Grayson Allen, 41% from downtown. DeAnthony Melton, I remember him giving us a hard time in the past, 43%. And Gorgie Zhang was let go and signed to the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs, of course, Andre Drummond to the Lakers, and he gets hurt right away. Are you kidding me? You just can't make that crap up. I mean, that's the Lakers this year. It's just like you just step on the court. Okay, boy, here we go again. Sprained this, sprained that. It sucks. But, well, who's feeling sorry for them? Not many people. Who was the other one? Oh, yeah, Blake Griffin to the Nets. Give me a break. God, it's ridiculous. But he's not that good anymore. And was he ever that great? Was he ever really like a superstar? I don't think he ever was. Go ahead and disagree all you want. Yay, he won a dunk contest. He jumped over the hood of a car. Yeah, I know I'm not out there jumping over hoods of cars, but he didn't jump over a car. He jumped over the hood of it, and that's the highlight of his career? Well, sounds good. Memphis Grizzlies, the Wolves do not play well against this team. We just don't. And if John Morant's healthy, I just think they win. You want to believe the Wolves are going to carry momentum into this one? I think we carry some, and I think we are in the game the whole time. I think we're competitive, kind of like the Brooklyn game. I just think the Nets win by like 3 or something. 117, 14, something like that. But I just call them the Nets, the Grizzlies. I think they win. We just never beat these guys. With Pau Gasol, with Marc Gasol, with Pau Jr. or Pau the Third. It seems like we're never going to beat the Grizzlies very often. Just like 1 out of 4 or something. It's really frustrating. It's just the way it is. Love the baby blue color. I think it's awesome. Or is it periwinkle? I think it's just great. I just love that color. And I am saying that with sincerity. It's a better logo than ours. Just saying. I'm just saying. I don't like the new logo that much. I thought I did, and I don't, because it looks like the Washington Wizards. Anything that looks like Washington Wizards, I don't like very much. Or the Capitals, for that matter. Grizzlies win by 3. That's just all I'm going to say there. Hoping for another fun performance from this guy and that guy, Beasley, Towns, Anthony Edwards. Jaden McDaniels, I'm expecting continued progress. That's kind of the number one focus for me right now. Anthony Edwards is going to get his 20-ish, or he's going to have a 12-point game. It's going to be just, he's kind of all over the place. And when he goes off for 30-plus, or if he can continue some type of momentum here, taking away passing lanes, pipping the ball out and all that, he might have a chance to be getting closer and closer. And if he does continue that type of style and setting other players up in moments that when there's a play to be had, then we are going to start winning a significant amount more games like this one. But right now, I'm just sticking on how I feel. We might win that game. I want to say we will. I really do. Because, Philadelphia, that's a team we absolutely never beat. Joel Embiid is still out, so there's a small chance we might actually beat them. So that's the good news. Then you get Sacto and Indy coming up. I'm going to switch it. 117-114 Wolves. Wolves beat Memphis. I'm going to step out in faith and hope for another 500 week here. Because there's 2 teams in this upcoming 4 I just don't see us winning. Philadelphia, the Wolves, like I say, we just never beat these guys. Even without Joel Embiid, it seems like a tough matchup to me. There's a lot of good players here. It's a bone bruise, not like an ACL or anything crazy like that. It looked like it could have been really something serious. But bone bruises, hey, let's not discount that. We all know what happened with Robert Covington when he had a contusion or a bone bruise or whatever. He didn't come back. So maybe Embiid doesn't play again this year. George Hill sprained right thumb as of the 25th. I think he got traded, though. Maybe he did get traded to... Yeah, he got traded to Philly. Philadelphia, 3-2 in their last 5. They beat Golden State, which is good enough for me, 108-98. They beat the Lakers. Yep, that's impressive. But then again, both teams are without star players there. 109-101. Beat by the Clippers by 10. 2 days later, 122-112. Lost to Denver 104-95. They're a lot better, too. Boy, they got good. Cleveland Cavaliers, they beat them by 20. Wow, on April 1st. Just yesterday, 114-94. Philadelphia's 8th in scoring, 5th in rebounding, 8th in free throw percentage, 8th in field goal percentage, 18th in free throw, and 13th in three-point percentage, despite the fact everyone's favorite player, Mr. Simmons, can't make a three-pointer still. And that's okay. Well, he doesn't really even attempt them. He's kind of like Dwayne Wade, I guess, that way, where Wade never attempted threes. He's like, nah, until later on, occasionally. Tobias Harris, obviously, has had amazing moments up and down. He's been a headache for us. Seth Curry, I remember, was one of the big problems for the Wolves last time around. And Danny Green can get hot anytime. That's why the three-point percentage is high. Seth. There is no Steph. Okay, yeah, you get the idea. 43%. At least he's become a decent player in the league. Again, a spark plug, third guard kind of guy. 46% from the floor. I mean, he can shoot. I guess if your name is Curry, you can shoot somehow. Dwight Howard, the old devil, Dwight Howard, has played in every game. Him and Danny Green. Good job, guys, because the rest of the team has not been able to do that. No, they haven't. Dwight Howard, way to stay healthy, and knock on wood. It's not like I'm this huge Dwight Howard fan or Philadelphia 76ers fan, but good for him. Good for him. You know, I mean, a guy that's had injury issues and all that in his past, and he finally got a ring last year. Not bad. 7 points, 8 rebounds. Filling in his role nicely, and, well, he's going to be the starting center most likely moving forward until Joel Embiid comes back, and a bone bruise is what it is, a bone bruise. Ben Simmons, one of the best defenders in the league, and he can score a bit as well with his length. He's kind of like LaMelo Ball, but better defense, that kind of thing. Obviously, though LaMelo might be better in other areas, a little better offense, blah, 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 a little bit better. It's a dangerous team. They're always a pain in the ass. Ben Simmons always seems to give us hell. He just does. His field goal percentage, to be fair, is 55%. He takes smart shots. He doesn't force up shots. He takes smart shots, Ben Simmons. So even though he can't shoot from the outside, he takes intelligent shots and he makes plays and he's close to the basket when he needs to be and slashes and all that. Still like Philly right now. I think the Philadelphia 76ers defeat the Timberwolves something along the likes of 120 to 120 to 110. It'll be a 10-point victory for the Philadelphia 76ers. Hoping Karl Anthony Towns goes off for 35 and leads us to victory, along with Anthony Edwards. Jade McDaniels gets another double-digit game with 4 blocks or something crazy like that. But at the moment, I see Philly winning by 10. Let's keep moving for the sake of time. The Sacto Kings. I always like playing these guys. I like the, I don't know, I kind of like the Kings for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I like Darren Fox. Monday, April 5th. I like how they've brought back the classic logo. They kept the purple, which is okay, and they brought back the classic logo going all the way back to the Kansas City Kings days. And, the old Sacramento Kings in the 80s and 90s. 4th in points scored. They're pretty offensive. 27th in rebounding, 6th in field goal percentage. So basically they make shots. They can't make free throws, though. 27th. And 16th in 3-point percentage. And I kind of miss Sacramento. We haven't played them since last year. April 5th, April 20th, April 21st. So it'll be a best out of 3. Sacramento has won 4 out of their last 5. They'd won 4 in a row, beating Atlanta 110-108. Golden State 141 to 119. Whoa. Wow. Ouch. That's insane. They beat Cleveland by 2, so another 2-point clutch win. So it's like clutch win and then blowout. That's kind of been the pace for for Sacramento, at least for this winning streak here. Then they beat the Spurs. They beat Cleveland by only 2, did Sacramento. That's funny, 198. And it wasn't a back-to-back or anything. 132-115 over San Antonio on the 29th, and then a 120-106 loss to the Spurs on the 31st a couple days ago. Maybe we won't win this game. It's winnable. It's winnable, and I think the Wolves do win this game. I got a feeling Anthony Edwards is going to have a huge one. I got a feeling he's going to go off for something like 35. I got a feeling he's going to go off for 35. It won't be a career high, of course, because he already made 42. Darren Fox is fantastic. Is he going to wind up on a different team? Not the greatest three-point per shooter, but he puts the ball in the basket about 48.5%. That's great. 25 points a game. Buddy healed. Not at 40% for some reason. Yeah, he's not shooting well this year. Under 40% overall. That's weird. But he's still averaging almost 17 points. Harrison Barnes has been all over the place. He's solid wherever he goes, but he's never great. Raquan Holmes has been awesome. Rashawn Holmes, sorry. It's spelled different, but it's, Rashawn Holmes, obviously an awesome player. Not averaging the double-double he was last year, but he's still averaging almost 2 blocks a game. I love that guy. Would love him on Minnesota if he wound up here somehow. Nemanja Bjelica's now in Miami with Jimmy, if I remember correctly. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool, not that cool. Halliburton, the rookie. Well, he's shooting almost 43%, 13 points, so he's one of the better rookies this year. Halliburton. Related to Dick Cheney somehow? No, I'm kidding. I'm just teasing there. I'm sorry. Dick Cheney. But, I remember Rashawn Holmes got hurt late last year, but it's nice to see him healthy and playing in almost every game this year. Good for him, and a way to stay healthy. He's my favorite Sacramento King other than Darren Fox. Love those two guys. That's why I like the Sacramento Kings. They have players that I like. I think the Wolves win this one in an epic fashion. It's going to be really fun. Something like, might even go to OT. We'll go with 130 to 125. Wolves win the game. Anthony Edwards gets 35 plus in the game, in my humble opinion. Kind of like Garnett back in the day. All of his best games happened against Sacramento. They did, and that's no wonder that the defining moment of Garnett's career, so to speak, as a Timberwolf, was Game 7 versus Sacramento, 2004. That was his best game as a Wolf, in my opinion. It was he looked like an MVP that night. Wednesday, April 7th, the Wolves will play in Bankers Life Fieldhouse, where we pretty much never win. I didn't even look at Sacramento's injuries. I apologize. I'm going to backtrack for a second. Real quick. Raquan Holmes, don't be hurt on me now. Marvin Bagley III. Fractured left hand as of March 15th, so he will not play in the game. So there you go. Apologize for not getting to the injury report there. Indianapolis. Yes, sir. Doug McDermott. Always love how that one rolls right off your tongue. Sprained right ankle on the 30th of March, so he's probably not going to play, but we'll see. TJ Warren's been out since the 30th of December. Sore left foot. Sounds like plantar fasciitis to me, or something like that. Indiana beat the Wolves 134 to 128 in OT earlier in the year, and they don't show the date. It drives me nuts. And this is the rubber match. Will the Wolves tie it up? I don't think so. I think Indy pulls out the brooms, even though they're not that great this year. 2-3 in their last 5. They lost to the Bucks 140-113. Ooh, on March 22nd. They beat Detroit, woohoo, 116-111. They beat Dallas 109-94. They lost to Washington by 10, but in Washington. And they lost to the Heat 92-87 on March 31st. Very, very, very low-scoring game. Indiana's 12th in the league in scoring, 29th in rebounding, 12th in field goal percentage, 29th in rebounding, wow. 12th in free throw percentage, and 17th in three-point percentage. Again, McDermott and Warren are the ones that are hurt. Warren's only played in 4 games this year. Right off the start of the year, out. I don't know if he had a fracture or stress fracture. Maybe stress fracture. Who knows? But they're just saying sore foot. So, can't be good. Malcolm Brogdon, he gave us a hell of a time, as did Domantas Sabonis. Victor Oladipo, obviously traded away. Caris LeVert is back playing again. Good for him. Good for Caris LeVert. Glad to see he's healthy and he's okay. And again, life-saving trade, as they say. Jeremy Lamb's, he's been all over the place. Solid role player who can shoot. And again, Chris LeVert has his moments, but he's still recovering. I can't imagine. As he's been shut down for an extended period. I don't think he's going to go off for anything. I just think the Pacers beat us, though, because of Brogdon and Sabonis. And hopefully Karl can go off for 30-plus and help the Wolves be very competitive. I got a feeling like somebody like a Beasley is going to have a big, big, big night, like 30-ish. But I think the Pacers beat the Wolves. They pace it. They keep up the pace and beat the Wolves. Something along the likes of 111 to... No, it's going to be higher scoring. 122 to... 115, the Pacers win. And the Wolves go 500 in 4 games. With that, we'll take a break and get to an interesting fan interaction segment. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion. Final segment, fan interaction segment, Twitter and Facebook at TWolvesEX, at TWolvesEX. Should be a bit of interaction on this one, I gotta think. I went to the wrong thing. My apologies. Of course, Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. Okay, this wasn't too bad. I want to thank Tanae and Vince Germano for retweeting the most recent episode. Tanae's out of New Zealand. Vince Germano out of Australia. I think. Let's see. Here we go. Vince Germano. Okay, yep. Tanae Brown says, once again, Towns turns the ball over and walks back in transition. And then Vince Germano replies with, not a leader's arse. Yeah, both of them very frustrated and don't see good leadership out of Towns. A lot of people locally have been saying, like, say, the Judd Zolgads, the Phil Mackeys and such have been saying, this is going to be Anthony Edwards' team. Like, he's going to be the leader because, obviously, he's more infectious, this and that. People are gravitating to Anthony Edwards much more than they are to Karl Anthony Towns, and it's just a fact. Did Byron Buxton hit a home run? Oh, that's good. Okay, that was obviously yesterday's game. Sorry, I'm distracted. I didn't think anybody homered yesterday. Good. Well, but they lost. They collapsed in Minnesota fashion. But, yeah, a lot of people have been saying that this is going to be Anthony Edwards' team and that it's going to be very interesting when D'Angelo Russell comes back. I'll talk to that about that in a moment. Sorry for interrupting you guys there. Vince Germano out of Australia. Again, Courtside Podcast. We'll talk about that also when Wayne Hunt gets to the Facebook page. Vince Germano, let's see if there's some responses. Okay, here we go. Yep, yeah, Tanae is frustrated, and I don't blame him at all. This was as of March 26th. This must have been that stinking Houston game. Yes, it was. He says, Towns taking defensive plays off because he doesn't get the call on the offensive end is one of the most frustrating things as a Timberwolves fan. Yeah, because he's constantly complaining and whining. He complains and whines way too much. Vince Germano says, do I need to say it again? What a great example of leadership for youngsters on the team. Yeah, and it reminds me of the days of Rick Adelman with Kevin Love always complaining and that frickin' J.J. Barea. I couldn't stand him. I couldn't wait till he was out the door. Again, didn't wish him any type of Achilles tendon injury, which he had last season? Or was it the year before? I think it was the beginning of last year. I wasn't rooting for anything like that to happen to the guy. But with Dallas again, of course. But I couldn't wait for him to leave. It was just, the only time I liked J.J. Barea was the very first game of the first season he was here, and the time he stood up to Ray Allen. Ray Allen was being an asshole in that moment. That was the only time I didn't like Ray Allen, and I did like J.J. Barea. And I was saying, definitely frustrating as hell. It's amazing that we were able to come back, but I suppose it might be more Houston than us, and it was. Yeah, that was that game where where Houston just, literally died. I don't know what they were doing. Multiple retweets there. Yeah, Levi Brown also retweeted the most recent episode. Thank you very much. Out of New Zealand. And there were people just basically liking. I'm not sure if they responded. They probably did. Historical 22-0 run and all that. More Deshaun Watson nonsense. He was not traded. It's just April Fool's stuff and all that, I'm sure. Yep, and I was saying, this was in the Brooklyn game. And this is when me and Tanae started going back and forth a little bit. I was saying, it feels like we've missed 1,000,000 threes tonight. We could easily be winning. And then Tanae says, and layups. Yeah, and layups. And layups. And I was saying, horrible play by Beasley. What was that? I'm starting to not miss him in the lineup, sorry to say. Tanae says, only a second game back. I still think he's trying to find his groove. He's been a lot more stagnant than he was before the suspension. Needs to move more off the ball, and things will open up for Ant and Cat more when he's making shots again. And thankfully that started to happen a bit against New York, finally. And he didn't take as many shots either, which I appreciated. I thought I responded. I know I did. Let's get to that. I didn't respond? Are you kidding me? I apologize. But, generally speaking, my response to that is, I understand. I just still hated the play in a big way. I hated it. Hated the decision. It's like you shouldn't just get stupid like that just because you've been off for like a couple of weeks. It was just a stupid play. That's kind of my comeback as well. But still, it wasn't a second game back, and I don't know. And that's one of the reasons why, generally speaking, his shooting was terrible in the game. Vince Germano says, I know, but hey, the way I'm looking at is they had a shortened off season. At least they'll be fresh. LOL. Oh, okay, because he was saying, but we were talking about the Lakers when he was saying shit when it looked like LeBron's going to miss some more time here. So significant time with that ankle injury. So we'll see what happens. And he's saying, hey, it's a shortened year, so he'll just heal up a bit and be ready to go when it matters. And probably. But I remember last time LeBron got hurt, it was that groin injury, and he never came back. And what a wasted year that was. Just a big waste for the Lakers and LeBron there. One of those 5 years where you could be in championship contention. Sorry. Tanae says, okay, here's Evan Massey. And then he tweets it out. Yeah, Evan Massey says the Minnesota Timberwolves could be headed towards major changes in the offseason. In fact, one source tells at Hoop Analysis Net that both Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell will be on the trade block. Tanae says a lot about Towns and D'Lo if true. Finch must not see them as a solution to the Wolves' problems. Once again, he got in-house. Yep, once he got in-house. Sorry, not once again. Yeah, I thought I responded. What the hell? I thought I did. Okay, maybe I was just saving it for now. Okay, well, let's talk about the D'Angelo Russell thing right now, and I think Wayne gets into it as well on Facebook. I'm concerned about D'Angelo Russell coming back more than I'm excited about it, and I think a lot of people are feeling the same because he's going to jack up shots. He kind of is who he is. He thinks he's the second best, if not the best player on the team. We'll say second best, him with Karl Anthony Towns, where a lot of people say, hey, they only got to play 5 games together for crying out loud. What are you rushing them out the door for? Are you crazy? Especially D'Angelo Russell. Only got to play 5 games with Karl. I understand that, but I'm extremely concerned that, the culture in that locker room hasn't been good. A lot of guys just complaining about the foul. Karl Anthony Towns complaining about the foul and not really focusing defensively. D'Angelo Russell just cherry picking out there, just kind of standing out there and shooting the ball and dribbling the air out of the ball, as they say. Just kind of cherry picking on that beyond the arc and forcing up dumb shots. To be honest, Anthony Edwards forces up dumb shots too, but he's 19 years old and there's a lot more coming there. D'Angelo Russell does not have the strength to drive the lane like Anthony Edwards can, and that's another thing. I'm just hoping and praying again. Chris Finch can balance this out, where D'Angelo Russell isn't jacking up stupid-ass shots, and Anthony Edwards is just being frozen out of the offense because, hey, he's a rookie, and this is our team. This is our team, biatch, basically. I'm just imagining D'Angelo Russell being that way. I'm hoping not, because Beasley isn't. Beasley and Anthony Edwards, they you could tell there is something there. There's something between those two guys, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I like that. I hope that continues with D'Angelo Russell. The cool part is at least D'Angelo Russell tweeted out that Anthony Edwards is Rookie of the Year right when LaMelo Ball broke his wrist, but again, an extremely poor taste. It's just he was being supportive. I get that part. That's the only part I like about it. He's being supportive, but yeah, an extremely poor taste at the same time. I mean, he broke his wrist. Haha, there you go. Rookie of the Year, Anthony Edwards. I appreciate the support. I appreciate that side. At least he's supporting the guy. That's a good sign in that sense. But yeah, the poor taste of it all. Holy cow, man. That was kind of funny. It's kind of funny in a sick way. Let's get to the Facebook page before someone kills me for taking the show too long. I won't say who. Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. It was liked and shared. I appreciate that very, very much. No comments in that section. The episode 303 steps back, ... And I posted about the final 7 minutes, 30 seconds on Friday, the historical moment. No comments there, just likes and wows, as they say. Same with the, the collapse and all that. 4 comments here. This was on the D'Angelo Russell conversation from Evan Massey. And 4 comments there. I'm not sure if Wayne's in this one. This is the one with Wayne. It might be. I think it is. Yep, good. Okay, so we'll get them all together here. And I'll check the visitor posts also when given the chance. Wayne Hunt has a lot to say, which is good. He is the alpha dog of the Courtside Podcast. Highly recommend the Courtside Podcast out there. The same applications I mentioned, like iTunes, iTunes/Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, all the same stuff. The Courtside Podcast, look it up. Wayne Hunt, Memphis fan. Vince Germano, Lakers fan. Stu Benson, Lakers fan. But it's a general NBA show, and they'll talk about the Wolves too. And it's pretty cool when they do, actually. But they'll talk all over the place. Highly, highly recommended. I continue to call it the best basketball podcast out there. They just released a new show, and I didn't catch it yet. I thought I knew I was forgetting something. I usually like to listen first because they probably had some cool stuff to say. I apologize, and I could have put a soundbite in. Maybe I'll put it in next week's show if I find something really cool to get on, like Wolves related or just something funny or really awesome, like when Vince was going after the Warriors a bit. I love that. Wayne Hunt says, like I said last time, Anthony Edwards is the future of the Timberwolves. I agree. Forget Cat. He doesn't want it and doesn't have it in him. I agree. And if that's sacrilegious locally, guys, I don't care. Go call us sacrilegious. Take a look at Anthony Edwards, his personality, before, after, and during games compared to Karl Anthony Towns, and tell me who's the leader of the team long term. Good take, Wayne. We'll continue. If you do trade them both, that would be D'Angelo Russell as well, you have to get return. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm talking both talent and high picks. If Cat and D'Lo really want to play together with Booker in Phoenix, then the Wolves must take everything. Yep, everything but Booker. Or Booker back, but I don't know, but that would never work. They would never give us that. Yeah, we have to get DeAndre Ayton for sure, and I like him. Absolutely, give us DeAndre Ayton. Excuse me. It is a bit of a shame that they don't want to wait and see what they have on the table next season with everyone healthy, but you can't teach heart. Build around Anthony Edwards, AE. Don't burn him out by throwing the whole load on him. The kid is built different, believe that. Rebuild year number 27. Yikes. Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? Or 25 or whatever, considering the Garnett years. Even those felt like rebuilding on the fly at times. And like Marbury, demanded a trade and stuff. That was crappy. I'm thinking this is not going to happen. Darren Doogie Wolfson locally said it's not true. He's not buying it at this stage. We'll see. I'm thinking it's not going to happen because they haven't had a chance to play together yet. So that's my guess, but you never know. Maybe they want out and they want to go to Phoenix with Booker. So you never know. Nicholas Simon from Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly. Yep, Pennsylvania. That's a funny name, too, intercourse. Sorry. He says, I hate this, but also completely agree. Cat just pisses me off now. I just don't think he really gives a bleep. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? And it reminds me of the Minnesota Wild, like, Ryan Suter, Zach Parise. It does. There's just a vibe from Studer and Parisi that had been going on forever. And finally, Bill Guerin put his foot down. Less minutes for Studer and blah blah blah. Less leadership for both of them, and a lot of the other guys gone as well to kind of clean things out. Continuing, Wayne Hunt says, sorry, mate. No disrespect towards the franchise, but Timberwolves fans deserve more than what Cat brings. Let's not forget, he not so long ago suggested he would leave if they didn't turn it around. I'm more excited to see Anthony Edwards lead the Wolves to a chip. I am too. And Nicholas says, nah, you're right. AE has some fight in him that Cat does not. Well said, guys. That was really good. That was really good. I agree with both of you. And again, I'm not just trying to be like a buddy bear, so to speak, where I agree, just trying to be agreeable. No, there's more to it than just being agreeable. What you guys said is, to me, I think, right on, mate, as I'd say. Vince Romano from Melbourne, and then Stu and Wayne Hunt are from... Stu Benson and Wayne Hunt are from Sydney, Australia. So there you go. That explains the mite, things like that. Trying to see if there's a visitor post. And nope, nothing new at the moment. Again, that was a cool image that Wayne posted of Anthony Edwards cuffing the ball and just dunking that sucker. It's beautiful stuff. So let's get to the contact details, wrap things up, shout-outs and stuff. Again, I did shout-out to the Courtside Podcast. You guys are the greatest all-time. Do check that show out anytime you can. Please do. Australians, great personalities and incredible basketball knowledge on that show, along with their listeners and followers that chime in at times as well. So, and occasionally have guests too. So the final stuff again, at TWolvesEX is the Twitter account, Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. The Vig It application, the referral code is Paladinolive, all one word, and that'll all be in the show description. The final couple things I want to get to, the audio submission. I'd like to get somebody on the show via audio submission, or even as a guest someday too. That's always possible, even though it's hard. Audio submission's the easiest thing to do. Simply open any free voice recording application on any smart device on the planet. Open it, press record, treat it like a phone call, hit stop. You can keep it to about 5 minutes or even longer, depending on how much you have to say. Share it / email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. Paladinolive@yahoo.com. It's like a call-in, but in the podcasting world, we call it an audio submission. It'd be great to hear from you. You would lead off the fan interaction segment. You can rant, rave, whatever it is about Anthony Edwards, Timberwolves, about the Lakers, who knows, but mostly Wolves if you could keep it that way. Be greatly appreciated. Can't wait to hear from you if you do join in. Mention who you are, especially if you're not a familiar name, but I'm sure most people would mention who they are and where they're from. And it'd be great to meet you out there if it's somebody new, and if it's somebody that's a classic like Vince, Tanae, Wayne. Awesome hearing from you guys always. Paladinolive@yahoo.com is where you would share it to, and I would then convert it into an MP3 file thanks to Zumzar.com. Final thing, please do write a positive rating on iTunes if you could. I know somebody did recently, not wrote it, but they put a positive rating. There was no review. It was just a 5-star, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. Can't complain ever about that. So if that's all you want to do, that's still better than nothing. And if you want to write a positive review along with the 5-star rating, that's great as well. If you could do that on iTunes or Audible or Stitcher, those are the 3 applications that I know offer that right now. Maybe others do that I don't know about, but where you can review the show, I'll try to find it and give you a major thank you and shout out on there if you could. Unfortunately, the 5-star one, I can't see who it was, so that's a bummer. Thank you, those of you that have done it over the years. I always appreciate it. Tell your friends about the show. Hope you have a wonderful week, and hope Anthony Edwards and Jade McDaniels continue the pace they're on, because it looks good.